Welcome, and thank you for joining our webinar on viewing the latest feature releases for Salesforce. My name is Ali Pakolnis, and I will help facilitate our webinar today. Before we get started, here are a few tips on using the Zoom platform so you can engage with our presenters and have the best experience possible. You should see a Zoom toolbar with icons for Ask a Question and Raise Your Hand. Please use the Ask a Question feature to submit a question or comment. If you need any assistance, click on the Raise Your Hand button, and I will connect with you to help. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation, and we will do our best to answer them all at the end. If we didn't answer your question, we will follow up with you personally after the presentation. If you experience audio issues, you can access your audio settings and test your audio when you are already in the meeting. At the bottom left-hand corner of the Zoom meeting toolbar, you'll find either the headphone or microphone logo to join audio or mute unmute. Click Join Audio to choose to connect your computer audio or dial into the meeting with a phone. Once your audio is connected, click Mute to disable the audio or unmute to enable your audio. Within 72 hours of the webinar, you will receive a link to download the slide deck and recorded presentation. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to our presenters, Turner Jones and Jalita Robinson.
Thanks, Ali. My name is Turner Jones. I'm a leader in our Salesforce delivery department at Armanino. I'm based in Dallas, and I have been working with Salesforce and nonprofit cloud since 2010, where I actually got my start as a system administrator at a nonprofit. Jalita?
Hello, my name is Jalita Robinson, and I am based in Springfield, Illinois. I'm a senior consultant with Armanino. My background is in providing technical and organizational solutions for nonprofits. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 8 years, and it's nice to connect with everyone on the call today. Next slide. Our learning objectives today will not only include key updates for Salesforce Spring 2023 release, notes specifically for nonprofits, but also included will be release updates related to analytics, automation, and other relevant enhancements. You're in for a very informative session. Next slide. Today's session will be in 2 parts. In the nonprofit cloud segment, we'll cover nonprofit-related updates, and the remaining updates will be presented in the key Salesforce enhancement segment. Also, during this session, we will have a few polling questions to measure participant feedback. To get started, let's begin with our first polling question. How much experience do you have on the Salesforce platform? First, I've ever heard of it. Limited exposure, but I really want to learn more. I have been an end user, or I am or was a Salesforce administrator or consultant. We'll give you a few seconds to answer. Okay, and our polling results, wonderful. It looks like we have the majority, or I would say tied, Salesforce administrator or consultant, and I have been an end user. So wonderful, and this will help guide our feedback. And thank you for answering participating in the poll. Within the Salesforce ecosystem, there are a lot of tools for nonprofits to leverage to meet organization efficiency goals, to quantify an organization's data through analytics, and to have greater impact on increasing revenue, servicing clients, and reporting on progress. Keeping up with this technology is why we're engaged in this session. Salesforce along with our partnership, have a role in helping you to achieve your goals. And as a result, we are sharing the following Spring 23 release highlights to keep you informed with the most recent updates. So let's dig in. Next slide. In this segment, we will be covering nonprofit cloud enhancements, including grants management, program management, and Elevate. Next slide. Salesforce Grant Management Tools enables an organization to partner with grant seekers to navigate the life cycle of the granting process. This includes leveraging the grants management portal to facilitate the collaborative activities of grant seekers, grantees, reviewers, and grant makers. In essence, grants management gives foundations and nonprofits who disperse awards and grants an efficient way to track, manage, and deliver funding programs. The first new enhancement include new budget entities that support grant seeker and grantee budget entries. The budget category represents information about the purpose of the budget that's used in understanding and reporting of budget utilization, like administration and marketing. The budget category value represents the actual value for the budget category. For example, the grant seeker has a proposed operations budget category value of $20,000 for their grant proposal. The budget period captures the time period for the budget category with support for multi-year budgets. The listed enhancements are our delivered idea from the idea exchange community. Next slide. Grant-making organizations often have different types of reviews, like a program review or a financial review. But each review type is likely to have a different set of questions. Delivered in this release, grant managers configuring a review can now select a custom field set for reviewer feedback, which will allow reviewers to see a distinct set of questions based on their role. So reviewers submitting feedback will now see fields in the feedback panel specific to their roles. Next slide. The Salesforce program management model is a tool that allows an organization to manage and track the activities of its programs and services, like its use of program engagement, which is used to track which clients are in what program and which services has been extended to which clients. This first enhancement being delivered is the ability to take attendance live and in session from a mobile device. This eliminates the need to work after hours to enter data at a later time. This enhancement for the program management model is a delivered idea from the Idea Exchange community. Also, an additional note related to the overall mobile experience, a new native reports interface tailored for phone and tablet will be auto-enabled for all customers. In addition, users will experience load times that are up to 6 times faster with faster sorting and manipulation. There is also support for charts, viewing and editing filters, conditional formatting, and much more. Next slide. The next enhancement is the bulk service delivery tool improvements. The bulk service delivery tool is used to create several service deliveries at once. For example, if there were 20 participants who all received a bus pass for school, Instead of logging the transaction participant by participant, this tool will allow you to search and select each participant and log the service delivery at one time. The enhancement delivered in this release now allows the user a more granular method to identify participants by selecting based on a program engagement in a specific stage. This will help to prevent participants who might be inactive from being mistakenly selected. In essence, this improved responsiveness reduces the amount of time spent finding and selecting participants and performing the data entry process of logging service deliveries. I'll turn it over to Turner to continue with the updates.
Perfect. Thank you, Julia. So next, we're going to talk about Salesforce.org's Elevate updates that they've made in the latest release. So if you're not familiar with Elevate, Elevate is Salesforce's native online donation platform that facilitates a smooth and secure donor experience between the online form that your donor sees and what you see in Salesforce. A benefit of using Elevate is it really does allow you to stay agile and allows you to launch new donor forms to accept donations for various campaigns kind of on the fly. It is all clicks, not code configuration that allows you to set your colors and branding elements, set up your pages for one-time and recurring donations. It allows for tribute gifts, and a pretty big benefit is that it allows you to collect any data that you're currently tracking in your CRM, right, and write it right back to those standard and custom fields. It also allows you to customize your thank you messages, right, and confirmation pages, and email out those automated donation receipts. So a few upgrades that they have made this release. One of them that I think is pretty sweet is this automatic credit card update. So for any recurring donations that you have set up that are processed by Stripe, IAT, and WorldPay platforms, your donor's card number or expiration date changes that they make will actually be updated automatically in the system, so there won't be a lapse in any of your installment payments, which I know can be a pretty big headache to try and track down new credit card numbers or new expiration dates, right? Another one is customizing how failed payments are handled. So you can now customize the frequency and the number of times Elevate tries to process a failed recurring donation. So it can, if a donation does fail, you can have it try a couple more times before you're reaching out to your donor. They've added a new payment gateway as well with PiaSage. And you can now also enter batch gift entries, or no, excuse me, enter recurring donations through batch gift entry, and indicate that that donation that you're entering is part of a recurring donation. All right, next slide. Another enhancement that they've made is you can now accept ACH through Stripe, and it's already there. You just need to enable it on any forms that you're using Stripe within Salesforce. You can see it there with that checkbox. Another great feature that Salesforce has released with Elevate is the ability to pause an Elevate connected recurring donation within the NPSB interface. This is great because it allows you to stay connected with your donor, and it allows a recurring donation to start back up instead of having to just cancel it altogether and really have to wait on that donor to reestablish the recurring donation. So this really does help you kind of maintain that relationship. Also accurately account for changes in your donation totals and manage those recurring donations from a single point. So really giving you that, one system of truth for your recurring donations. All right, refunds. So Salesforce didn't have a great way to deal with refunded payments before. A lot of people would just mark the payments unpaid, make a note on it, and then move on. But doing that really does get rid of the history of the payment that was made, which if you're integrated into an accounting system, you know how challenging that is to keep the systems reconciled, right? So with this new refund feature, this is available in Elevate and non-Elevate. So if you're just using Salesforce NPSP, this is a feature that is also there for you. So there's the ability to refund a payment in full or partial. And what it does is it'll create a new payment record on your opportunity with a negative amount, right? If you're using GAU allocations with this, it converts those to percentages when you initiate a partial refund. So that way you'll know the true value of the opportunity with those amounts on the GAU allocations, right? So you know which funds that the opportunity, I guess the actual amount of the actual amount of the donation which applied to the fund that was ultimately paid. Right, and I think I'm passing it back over to Jolita now to talk about the Salesforce.com enhancement.
Thank you, Turner. In this segment, we will be covering key Salesforce enhancements, including lightning reports and dashboards, activities and moves management, and topics for Salesforce admins. Next slide. As an overview of lightning reports and dashboards, this functionality can be described as the goal of data collection. The ability to aggregate data and to use it to tell a story about the good work being done by the organization is paramount. This is the functionality that provides the organization with measurable outcomes and metrics to understand how the organization is performing. In this update, lightning reports and dashboards are more relevant and engaging with the addition of relative user filters, image and text widgets, more subscriptions and dashboard filters, and enhanced organization. Customers can now subscribe to 15 lightning reports and 15 dashboards. The previous limit was for 7 reports and 7 dashboards. So this has more than doubled. For those who are new or who have never used subscriptions, a bit more feedback on its usefulness might represent subscribing to a report which auto emails you a list of tasks for the week, or a report listing blank fields on a contact record that should be populated but isn't. Receiving one of those reports is an example of how subscriptions might be useful. Also, regarding dashboards, let's say there is a dashboard that displays metrics of the number of intakes by month, the number of active participants in the program, and maybe the number of enrollments by class session. This dashboard, which contains these components, could be auto-emailed to management as a monthly reporting process. Now, the unlimited edition customers automatically get the increased subscription enabled. That is going from 7 to 15 subscriptions. However, the non-unlimited edition customers will need to submit a support request in order to have the limit increased from 7 to 15. Also delivered in this update, admins will no longer be in the dark about which reports, dashboards, or other analytic assets users are subscribed to. Admins will be able to manage data access by determining what kind of attachments are sent, who receives them, and who the running user is. Admins can stay on top of scheduling and limits with a quick report showing when subscriptions run and who set them up, and a custom report type on analytics notifications will need to be created to view the source, the owner, the running user, and schedule of subscriptions. Next slide. Also delivered in this update, users can easily set up reporting filtering that present results in a more personalized way with the use of the value $user. This is a setting that will allow you to filter on any user field. Owner fields are the most common use case, but there are many others, including many custom fields that are lookups to the user object. So when you select the relative value for $user, the filtering will become dynamic to the user running the report. So in essence, the current user can now be referenced in a report as a search criteria. This is useful for objects where you don't have a my filter, or when, for example, you have multiple people working on an opportunity who aren't the opportunity owner. Instead of creating separate reports for each team, you could have a single template report where, for example, you have a filter of, let's say, case manager equals $user ID. Next slide. Make it easier for your users to find the right reports with new report filters on the report type selector. Users can now select up to 4 Salesforce objects and 20 fields to filter their report types. This feature is now generally available for all active and demo orgs which have unlimited edition licenses. Next slide. Delivered in this release is an update for collections. Have you ever wanted to organize reports and dashboards in a way that is different from folders as they reside in? Well, you can now use collections to organize the reports and dashboards that you care about, even if they exist in multiple folders. In addition to creating collections, users can now pin and hide their collections, giving them more options to customize their homepage. Previously, users couldn't control which collections were displayed on their homepage. Now they can pin collections to the top of the list for easy access. Hidden collections are still accessible through the Collections Management UI, a collection URL, or as an embedded Lightning component. Options can be accessed from the app launcher and then select Analytics. Click the gear icon in the Collections panel. Also, as a note, that unified home for analytics must be enabled on orgs that don't have a CRM analytics license to support asset previews in collections. Next slide. You probably already noticed changes related to the activity section. The new button menu design organizes action types by email, call, task, and event. Along with the newer look and feel, more actions have been added to the composer and grouped by action type. So you can select from multiple email addresses and change your email settings from a single place, specifically using the button drop-down arrows. The admin determines whether users can see tabbed activity composer or the dynamic activity composer on a page. Next slide. Now you can make the lead and case record pages more robust by configuring them with dynamic forms. Granular customization can be achieved by dragging and dropping individual fields into sections from directly within the Lightning App Builder. In addition, users will experience more improved page performance and load times due to the progressive page rendering features. Next slide. Manage your inactive Picklist values and save time managing your custom pick lists. You can now bulk delete inactive, unused Picklist values. Previously, custom pick lists with many inactive values were difficult to maintain because you had to delete each inactive value one at a time. This feature is available only for custom pick lists with predefined values. Not only can you mass delete, but also you can perform mass operations to activate, deactivate, or replace multiple custom pick list field values at once. With this release, you can also catch duplicate values at insert. Easily identify which values are duplicates when inserting new values to a pick list, so you can remove those values. When adding new values to a pick list, if the value already exists, the UI error will identify which one is the dupe, so it can be removed. Also get email notifications when custom pick list fields have more than 4,000 inactive values, and that is a lot to be inactive. And use this information to bulk delete the inactive unused values. For example, this feature could be used to identify which pick lists should be cleaned up due to an improper data import. Next slide. Boost your data quality, build trust, and engage with customers in the ways they self-identify with gender-inclusive fields. Pronouns and gender identity are now included as an optional pick list field on the lead, contact, and person account objects. Use the vetted default value set, or you can add your own pick list values to get a full picture of your constituents. Be sure to review any privacy implications of collecting this data before adding the new fields to your page layouts. This change applies to Lightning Experience, Salesforce Classic, and all of the versions of the mobile app and all editions. Next slide. The field history tracking feature is available on most objects. This serves as a type of breadcrumb that allows you to track the previous and current value of when a specific field changes. You can also track the date and time the field change and which user made the change. For example, when, let's say, the application data is populated, field tracking will track the value of the field as being blank at record creation, and will then track the date, the time, the user, and the new value when that field is updated. This feature can be used to monitor field changes and can be reported on. For most standard objects, you can track up to 20 fields. For this release, however, field history tracking is now available on events and tasks. For these objects, only up to 6 fields can be tracked. To turn this feature on, you would go to the Object Manager and select the event or task object. Select Fields and Relationships, and then click Set History Tracking. Select the fields you would like to track. To view field tracking activity, you would add the activity record history component to your event and task lightning pages. Next slide. Since a lot of you all are admins on the call, a permission set, you already probably know about permission sets, but just a little background for those who haven't really worked with permission sets. A permission set is a collection of settings and permissions that give users access to various tools and functions. Permission sets extend users' functional access without changing their profiles. Now, on this release, there is a new, and this is kind of long, set field level for permission sets during field creation feature. This will allow you to set or change field level security for a field at creation. This field is currently in beta and would need to be turned on in order to use. Next slide. After turning on this feature, our enablement of this feature, when an admin creates a field, edits a field, or uses the Set Field Level Security button on a field, they will see permission sets instead of profiles. In addition, you can view by permission sets with object permissions or by all object sets using the indicated checkbox. Also, the view has been enhanced so that the permission set API name and description displays and columns are sortable. To highlight what's different, now instead of viewing profiles, you will now see permission sets. This list of permission sets will include those that have create, read, edit, or delete access for the field's object. If no permission sets have access for the field's objects, then all permission sets will be included. Then from the list, you can grant, read, and or edit permissions. Why is this permission set feature so important? It's because Salesforce will be announcing end of life for permissions on profiles soon. As a result, admins should start applying permissions to users, using permission sets and permission set groups as a best practice for user management in place of assigning them at the profile level. Next slide. What is Flow Tool? Salesforce, a little background, Salesforce Flow Tool is an automation tool which can be used to support business processes. Flows can perform various tasks like sending email, posting a chatter, sending notifications, etc. Flow is the most powerful automation tool provided by Salesforce. Now, in this update, there is a push to migrate processes and/or automation supported by process builders to Flow. Both workflows and process builders are being retired. However, in this update, the Flow tool can not only migrate workflows, but now can migrate process builders into flows. The process builder migration includes an additional step, however, to help customers refactor or break up large running processes by enabling selecting individual groups of actions. Next slide. Certainly sure by now you all have seen and heard and have probably likely set up MFA. But if you haven't MFA is a secure authentication method that requires users to prove their identity by supplying 2 or more pieces of evidence or factors when logging in. In this release, MFA is auto-enabled. Salesforce turns on MFA on a customer's behalf. Users must use MFA to log in after a 30-day grace period. Login process prompts users to register for MFA. Users already using MFA aren't affected. Admins can disable MFA if they're not ready for it. Now, coming soon after this will be the next step, will be MFA enforcement, which is when MFA is a permanent part of the login experience, and users must verify their identity each time they log in. Non-MFA users are auto-enabled for direct logins. Users already using MFA aren't affected, and customer admins and users can't disable MFA. And that section is to come. Now, for SSO or single sign-on orgs, Salesforce won't take action to enable MFA for your SSO identity provider, but the contractual requirement applies to Salesforce access via SSO. And I am going to turn it over to Turner.
Perfect. So we're going to launch our second polling question. So has your organization enabled MFA? I'll give you a few seconds to respond. Yeah, perfect. So this is kind of the spread that we expected. A lot of our clients have still not turned on MFA, even though Salesforce has been preaching it for about 2 years now. Thank you. And then polling question 3. What do you see as the biggest area of improvement for your organization? So this can be program or case management, grants management, your development strategy, your marketing strategy, training and system maintenance, or system integration. Perfect. So kind of a good spread across the board. There's a lot of, with this, and as y'all know as Salesforce users, Salesforce can play a big role in all of these areas. Cool. So that wraps up our Spring 23 release. Release webinar, and just that's something that we want everybody to know. We do offer virtual and live Salesforce training classes through our Armanino Academy. This is a great way to help you onboard new employees that you work for, and to learn about other functionality and features that Salesforce uses and that we recommend. And if you're really just not sure where to start and you need help, whether you've had employee turnover or you just haven't really kind of looked at your tech stack in a while, something that we're offering to all of our current Armanino customers is a Salesforce health check. So what this is it's 2 to 3 hours of us meeting with your team. So meeting with finance, meeting with your development team, even meeting with your communications program or marketing team, and figuring out how they're using the system, what they're doing outside of the system, and helping you identify those easy wins and to develop a roadmap going forward. So from this, you'll get an assessment report, which is basically documentation of those user interviews, our assessment, and then also our assessment of your system. So we'll go in, look at your current licenses, look at how you're using the system, and make recommendations. Cool, and that wraps it up.
Thank you, Turner, and thank you, Jalita. If anyone has any questions, reach out to experts@armanino.com. But I think that wraps everything up for today. Thank you for attending, and please remember to complete the survey as you close out of the webinar. Have a good day.